Hey there, Squirrel Army. How's it going? For today, we're having another look at the commanders from the upcoming Lord of the Rings commander decks. This is for both Sam and Frodo, a partner pairing. You can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing. Alrighty, so we have two creatures. Both of these end up being 5 mana worth of creatures. So that's kind of interesting, I guess. So that's not too bad. You could play Frodo on 2, and then you can play Sam on 3. So that's alright. And if for some reason you happen to have these not as your face commander or commanders, they do tutor for each other, so yeah, that's still okay. It's not as amazing, I would say, because I think you want Frodo first so that Frodo can actually kind of attack and do his things and whatnot. But anyway, it is what it is sometimes if you don't choose to have them in your command zone. But we are going to be looking at having them in our command zone. Now, again, the reason why I do this kind of video like this is to break these commanders down, understand them, figure out what the kind of deck we're kind of building with these is, and analyze them that way, rather than waiting for the deck to be fully revealed, which might happen tomorrow, might happen in 2 weeks, who knows. But yeah, again, it just takes so much time in those upgrade guides for me to analyze what these commanders kind of do, so I prefer to just do it in its own video and then direct people to this video if they want to know more about these commanders rather than taking too much time in those videos. So, Frodo, we're going to start with him because he's the thing we're going to probably be playing first for the most part. 1/3 with Vigilance for a 2. That does seem pretty darn alright. Now, from my perspective, this is actually a commander that you want to attack with, so its stats aren't that bad because, again, you can't, if you're going to attack with this thing, and it is kind of evasive, and I'll get to that in just a sec, you want it to have some decent toughness just in case it does get blocked. And there are only a few things that can block it. So let's go through. When it attacks, if we gain 3 or more life, the ring tempts us. That's cool. Then if it is our ring bearer, and the ring has tempted us 2 or more times, we draw a card. Actually, it's not that evasive. I thought it was for some reason. Maybe I'm thinking of the other Frodo. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Me reading the cards. That explains the cards, you know, kids. But anyway, we want to make him very evasive so that, again, he doesn't die in combat. So that's going to be tough, honestly, when we want to play Sam to try to help us gain life with making his food and whatnot. So we need other ways to gain life, attack with Frodo, and get all the other triggers off that we want to get, you know, just the ring tempts us twice and then draw a card. Now, later game, that's pretty easy. Early game, not so much. Even mid-game might not be that good. Like, again, if we're running lots of tutors, that's a bit different. But it depends. Like, again, I always tend to look at these as more of a casual build without 30 tutors or whatever else and that sort of thing. But yeah, whatever. Sam, 3 mana, 2/4. That's fine, honestly. Like, again, we're probably not going to attack with him or do very much with him, so the more he, again, is an enchantment commander, the better. Honestly, we don't really care what his stats are as long as he's got some nice defense for the most part. He can just sit there and, chump block for us. Beginning of combat on our turn, we make a food. Sure. Okay. Actually, I think they spoiled this guy way, way back earlier in the spoiler season, but I just didn't know that it was actually the face commander, and I don't think anyone else did either. But except for wizards and whatnot. But still, we didn't know. Activated of foods we control cost 1 less to activate. So that's okay, I guess. Food isn't that expensive, honestly, to activate. Yeah, it's 2. So that's not a lot. So it's now 1. Well, that's okay. Yeah, 1 mana for 3 life is actually really good, actually, I suppose. But still, I don't know. It's just not that amazing. Sam, you only need him for 2 goes anyway. We only need to have the ring tempt us twice, and then throughout the rest of the game, we're probably never casting Sam again. And if we gain 3 or more life, the ring will tempt us anyway. So if we're jammed up on life gain in the deck, rather than having Sam do all of our life gain, then we're probably all right without playing Sam that much anyway. So again, we could play a bunch of equipment to help Frodo gain us a whole bunch of life, and the ring will still tempt us. It does have to be before we attack, so we get the trigger when we attack. So we have to gain a whole bunch of life on our main phase, or on our first main phase, rather, at least. That's a pretty darn small hoop. Oh, actually, or during our combat, yeah, whatever. But before we actually have attacked, that's the thing there. And Sam does provide us with those food, and we can pay 1 mana to crack those food. At turn 3, I don't think you're going to do that very easily. Even with that 1 mana reduction on the ability, that's going to be a tough one to get. You might want to wait till turn 4. So you might want to cast Frodo on turn 3 and then cast Sam on turn 4, assuming you have 4 mana, unless you just somehow get 4 mana by turn 2 or 3 or whatever it is. Then, yeah, sure, okay, a bit different. But again, I still would think that you wouldn't do that very often, again, unless you have lots of tutors to get your soul rings or whatever else, things like that. So, yeah, I don't think Sam's very relevant to this deck, and even if he is somewhat relevant, he's only relevant twice. As soon as we've got 2 triggers of the ring tempting us, we're just going to start doing stuff with Frodo, so we're never going to need Sam again. So, for the most part at least. We can still gain life and make foods and whatnot, which isn't terrible, but it's just not anything that really, really will help us. Maybe we do want some other stuff that tempts us with the ring, but then again, we don't need it, honestly, because again, Frodo's going to get there so darn quickly for the most part, so once you've got those 2, well, you just don't need any more, and Sam's right there in the command zone, so you're going to get those pretty easy, and even so, again, I don't know how much more life gain you honestly need, other than having that couple of life gain, unless you're in big trouble. So again, it's tough for me to say that there's much more there that you can kind of do with Sam. I think that Frodo, just if you're giving him evasion and lifelink, or just that doesn't work actually, does it? I keep thinking that it would, but it doesn't, does it? But just giving him evasion and finding all these life gain triggers isn't that hard, honestly. Like, again, so I don't think we're in colours that really take extra combats, so that would be kind of tough to kind of get. So, I don't know. That it is good that he, when Frodo comes back later in the game after he's died once or twice or whatever, he still will get that trigger of tempting you with the ring and all that stuff if you gain life, etc., and drawing your cards. So my big thing is, like, how do we win? Do we weaponize like life gain, which is a pretty tough thing to do, honestly. There's only really one card that really does it that's in our colors. And that would really win us the game, definitely. Is this a Voltron build? I don't think it is, because Frodo's so darn small, and if you're going to put in so many other equipment, not just to make him evasive, but also really big, then I don't know what else is kind of in the deck. It's like, at some point. Like, so it starts making it very hard for me to see that you would want to do that. Like, you could, obviously, like, but I think it's way too many hoops to jump through. So it is quite tough for me to figure out ways to win with this. Like, again, you could weaponize life gain, but again, there's only really one card, so you're going to run a whole bunch of tutors to get it. And again, I'm more on the casual side of things, building these mostly, so I don't really see us doing that. It's going to be, honestly, a tough build around to figure out how this one wins the game. Like, you can certainly get some decent value, and we can certainly be a decent life gain deck, and it's funny that a few of these commanders do stuff with tempting us with ring. I get it, it's from the set, and it's the new mechanic and whatnot, but still, it's just like, did all of them have to do something with the ring tempting us? I guess it makes sense for Frodo, but again, there's a few characters that just like, why are you tempted by the ring? That's a bit weird. It wasn't really in the books that much. Maybe it was a bit, but I didn't really read enough of it. Maybe. I don't know. But it just doesn't seem logical from the verse perspective, like Sauron does, of course, because he loves the ring. Yeah. But he wouldn't be tempted by it per se, because he's the tempter. So he's trying to tempt other people. So you want to tempt others? I don't know. I don't understand. It's a bit weird there. So yeah, but obviously, if you guys have an idea how this pairing could win games, let me know your thoughts. Write down them in there in the comments below. I'd love to know, because I have very few ideas how this commander deck will actually like pull out wins. Besides you maybe somehow getting there with Voltron damage in 30 years or something. Like, I don't know. Unless, again, you are going to run just all the equipment that you can run, and just like, well, as soon as I've gotten those 2 triggers of the ring and blah, 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 I'll just be drawing cards anyway, so I don't really care about the rest, and just hopefully enough life gain or enough other stuff will keep me from dying. I don't know. But again, I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and hope you will join me again in the next one.